What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 17 of Get Bucked. I'm your host, Ryan, and as usual, I get to be joined by my co-host, Jackson. Jackson, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I've had this date circled on my calendar ever since they announced they're going to have new four stakes races. So I'm excited to talk about it.
That's right. The the ever difficult Turfway Park. So difficult, in fact, that we had to bring on one of Kentucky's own. That's Kaitlin Free's going to join us and help us out through this all stakes pick four. Kaitlin, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. We're ready to get into this. What were your thoughts on the sequences? My Pacific Horse Players host Noah Maher shows his excitement.
Well, for one, it's just a really good card that Turfway has put together for all of this. This is the first time that we've done these types of stakes races. These used to be kind of spread out throughout different portions of the holiday meet, but now they're all on one evening and over $1 million worth of purses, and they drew very, very good fields with the increases in purses for these specific stakes races. So just really looking forward to it. But I mean, there's horses that are going to be taking heavy favoritism in here, and the morning lines haven't came out yet for these races. But I would think there's a chance that this could be a potentially pretty chalky sequence. But knowing Turfway, there's at least one that may be upset.
Absolutely. Anytime a sequence looks a little chalky at Turfway, I'm always wary just because prices seem to be in abundance. Anytime they run races there, just those deep fields always draw competitive fields, and it's always fun to watch. Kayla, why don't you give everybody just a quick little bit about yourself? I know you're mainly out in Kentucky, I believe with Twin Spires.
Yeah, I'm rich. I'm employed by Churchill Downs. So when I am on air, it's at any of the Churchill Downs tracks, but I'm also with Twin Spires. So I do a lot of their content all the time for not only the CDI tracks, but for Keeneland. I do some international stuff with Twin Spires as well, but it's those two companies and based out of Kentucky for both.
Awesome. Very cool. I'm sure that keeps you extremely busy. So thank you again for, taking the time to join us. And without further ado, let's get on in to race number one of this, pretty tough sequence. We're going to be going 1 mile and a 16th in the My Charmer Stakes, $250,000. The picks are up on the screen. I picked the race 4-2. Jackson, you picked the race 2-4. And Kaitlin, you picked the race 4-9. So Kaitlin, you're going to lead us off here, starting with the number 4 horse that we all chose. That's number 4, Dana's Beauty.
It's obvious, I think, what there is to like about her. She's raced here twice at Turfway. She's 2 for 2. She won a stakes race here at the same distance on Jeff Ruby Day. That was the Latonia Stakes. She's won 2 more races since then, 2 more stakes races on the turf. She's really versatile. She can come from off the pace. She can be forward. She's just the best horse in here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think, Jackson, you probably also agree with us because we all had this horse in our top 2.
Yeah, I mean, and with the scratch of Patches O'Hoolihan, she's probably going to be the shortest price favorite of this sequence, I'd have to imagine, because she's, like Kaitlin said, she's the fastest horse. She's got a pretty clear pace advantage, and she's very, very logical.
Yeah, of course, the scratch of Patches O'Hoolihan comes in race number 6, was just announced a little bit earlier. I believe per that tweet, Robert Teller said that Patches O'Hoolihan is just going to go to the farm and call it a career or get the winner off. Jackson, do you have the scoop on that one?
You sent it to me. I don't know.
You're right. I did send it to you. Kaitlin will go to the number 9 next. Smoking Hot Blonde, a long shot you'd have to imagine in this field. Still a maiden.
That was why this was so interesting to me, was why is this horse in here as a maiden? Doesn't get out of the gates very well, but is going to switch surfaces, and being by English Channel, I just thought it was very, very interesting. I think, with a little bit of trouble in her couple of races that she ran at Churchill Downs, 1 mile and a 16th over the all weather is definitely something that would be within her wheelhouse. But the fact that she's even in here is what was peculiar enough to me to make me interested in Edgar Morales going to come back into town to ride her.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned she's kind of had trouble getting out of the gate in those first 2 starts, just kind of been a little sluggish. If she gets out, where would you kind of picture her in the field?
Probably mid-pack, because she doesn't seem to have really that much early speed. It's kind of the late kick that she has. And even though I still think that Dana's Beauty is the best horse and the fastest horse in the field, I think there's definitely going to be some involvement up front with her. So the pace could definitely be pretty hot in here. So I think that this horse could definitely close for a piece at a really big price from off of it.
Absolutely. Certainly something to spice up the exotics. Last horse we'll talk about before we move on is a horse that Jackson, you and I picked. That's the number 2 Forever Dixie. Why don't you give us your take on this one?
Yeah, she's just a horse I think has a little bit of dirtied up form. That race 4 back at Woodbine in July was phenomenal. I mean, there was no speed in that race. She had no setup. She came flying late and just came up a little short against Soul Album, who's a really good horse up there at Woodbine. And then the last 3 trips just haven't really worked out. I can toss a race 3 back on the turf, and then 2 back, she had a lot of trouble. I know it doesn't really say it in the PPs, but if you go back and watch replay, she wasn't going to win, but she would have been probably third, beaten maybe a length or 2. She definitely had some trouble in the stretch, had to stop all her momentum, go around some tiring rivals, and then just got going again a little too late. And then last time I thought she just got a really passive ride. I know she got a very good setup in that day as well, but it was really strange. They're coming around the turn, and instead of just going around the tiring horses, the jockey kind of just kept holding her and kept holding her and kept holding her. And she was right next to the eventual winner. And the other horse got a huge jump on her. And then by the time she got clear, those horses were way ahead and she had no chance after that. So I'm hoping she gets a little bit more aggressive ride in this spot. I know Machado's been a little controversial last couple months, but he's very good. He's an up and comer and he rides his Turfway. He rides really well here at Turfway, especially. So I'm going to give her a chance to get back in the winner's circle. Only issue I saw is maybe a lack of pace. She comes from pretty far out of it. There could be some pace in here, but I'm not entirely sure it's going to heat up.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said there. I think this one's going to be running late, and I like the cutback from 1.25 miles back down to the 8.5, where this one's done all right. 2 wins and 5 total in the money at a 7 start. So hopefully this one comes running late. But the race goes through the number 4 Dana's Beauty. That's going to be race number 4, the first leg of this all stakes pick 4 sequence offered this Saturday. Next race is going to be race number 5. It's the Holiday Inaugural, I want to say. I might have messed that one up. Yeah, Holiday Inaugural. Look at me. It's almost like I'm a host of a show. So race number 5, I picked the race 12-11. Jackson picked the race 5-2. Kaitlin picked the race 5-6. The number 5 is Uppercase. Horse you both landed on. Kaitlin, what did you love about this one?
She's just a versatile type of horse. She can go 2 turns. She can go 1 turn. Really kind of showed she was of this caliber of a horse last time out in the Dream Supreme. I understand that she had a lot of things go her way. The heavy favorite in that race didn't get out of the gates. And this horse just got a great ride under Evan Roman. Showed she didn't necessarily need to have the lead with that. She was inside, covered up, and then came on through to end up getting the win. She showed she didn't need Lasix. So there's just a lot of boxes that she checks. She's got to win over the surface. I think that are we going 6.5 or we're going 6?
Good.
So that's plenty of distance for her. She's 2 for 4 at the distance. She likes the surface here, and she's in way better form than she was here in February when she ended up breaking her maiden here. So I just think she's got a lot to like in this race.
Absolutely. Uppercase comes in razor sharp form. Jackson, how did you see it with the number 5 Uppercase also being your top pick?
That's exactly what I wrote in my notes, is checks a lot of boxes. I mean, she's very versatile, which is going to come in handy over this surface that plays very fair. She's an up-and-comer. You see those figures that keep improving. She's nearly paired up those buyer tops that I love seeing, and she just makes a lot of sense in here. She's going to get a good trip no matter what the pace comes up to be. That last race was really good. I mean, Mystic Pleasure is a solid horse. Spirit Wind's one of the better sprinters in the country, going 6 for Safi Joseph. So she seems like one that makes a lot of sense, and she does have a win over the track, which is always helpful.
Absolutely, yeah. I had this one 3rd on my picks, but I ended up to the far outside with the number 12, Love to Shop. I love this one coming in with some proven synth form. I like the draw going 6 furlongs. This horse has never been out of the trifecta in her 10 starts. So always kind of gives you that A effort and drops out of some graded stakes races. The last time out, a grade 2 where this one went off as the favorite up at Woodbine, cuts back the furlong, going to be coming from, I'd imagine, a little far out of it, but kind of has some, some speed to kind of be placed wherever. But I saw the number 12, Loves to Shop, on top. I believe your morning line favorite might be this number 11, Love Appeals for Christophe Clement, just off the last race. Maybe not, though. This looks like a pretty competitive race, and I didn't want to pick the favorite on top. The last horse here that we will discuss is the number 6, Nice as Pie. Kaitlin, you had this horse in 2nd. This one looks like it'll also be a nice price. Oh, Hello, Kaitlin.
Sorry about that. I was trying to mute my mic and accidentally completely clicked off the stream.
No worries. We're just talking about the number 6 nicest pie.
I heard that. So the thing about her is I think there's a chance that the pace is going to be pretty hot in this race. There's a lot of horses that want to be forward in here. She's 4 for 4 over the surface. Her form is not good as of late, but I think it has everything to do with the fact that she's been running against older horses. Poolside was Slim as a 3-year-old, but she's a really nice turf horse. She was only beaten 2 lengths by Roses for Deborah, who's very, very good. So I think blinkers going on, getting back over a surface she loves. I think she's going to be overlooked in here. And the way Luis Saez has rode this year, I don't care if he doesn't ride at Turfway Park all that often. Anything that he's on, I want to at least consider.
Absolutely. I love that last point with Luis Saez on board. I think with the blinkers on as well, Saez is going to be pretty aggressive out of there. He's not afraid to, get forward position, even if it's maybe not that horse's running style. He's going to get this horse in a great spot. That much. So that's the number 6 nicest pie. Last one we'll talk about here is the number 2 for you, Jackson, Beauty of the Sea.
Yeah, just real quick. I thought she ran the best race last time in that Woodbine race where it kind of came apart. 50-1 shot got home that day from off the pace, and then your horse Love a Shop also came from off the pace. So one that kind of that collapsed late. She was right up there on the lead the entire time, did all the dirty work. Got some time off since then. She's another one that's pretty versatile. She can be right on the lead or sit right behind it, and she should save a lot of ground. So I think she makes some sense here.
Yeah, that is race number 5. Uppercase picked on top for Jackson and Kaitlin as their top pick, and the number 12, Love to Shop, on top for me. Moving on to race number 6, we're going a mile and a 16th for the Prairie Bayou. Let me throw the picks up here. I saw the race 1-6. Jackson and Kaitlin both picked the number 7 on top. That's Wadsworth, I believe, with the 9 underneath for Kaitlin and the 6 underneath for Jackson. We'll start with the number 7. Kaitlin, we'll turn it to you one more time. Wadsworth coming second off the layoff for Godolphin.
Yeah, this horse has been off for a long time and ran a really good second last time out behind Chasing the Crown, going a mile on the turf. He runs well on the turf, but he's very good over the all-weather. And I think around a mile and a 16th is pretty much as far as he wants to go. So just getting back to a surface that he likes, the only thing on his record that wasn't that good at Turfway was when he ran in the Jeff Ruby Stakes against Two Phils and that whole group. So getting back after having that start off of the extended layoff, Thrangeru is going to be in town to ride this horse. So I just thought he made a world of sense in here, but it's going to be a short price. Even against this big of a field, he may even be almost as low as Dana's Beauty, I'm thinking.
Could be for sure. There's some form in there, and then obviously came back pretty strong in that optional claimer last time out. Next horse we'll go. We'll stick it with you. Or actually, Jackson, do you want to add anything to Wadsworth, your top pick as well?
Not really. I mean, second on the bench, ran really well with the prep race, ran really well the entire time as a 3-year-old. And, if he moves forward off that race, he should be very tough because he's got the good Turfway form. I mean, Two Phils was arguably the best 3-year-old of that crop. So no shame in running in second to him. Just needs any kind of trip, and he should be ultra tough.
Absolutely. He seems like he's getting better. Speaking of Brad Cox and that barn, I'm going with the number 1, Hush of a Storm, as my top pick in this spot. This horse loves Turfway, has 8 in the money finishes, with 4 of those being wins out of 9 starts. So really just seems to like it here. Luan Machado and Brad Cox are kind of a sneaky combination. They're low sample size at Turfway, only 6 starters, but 4 wins, 294 ROI, and then they're 6 for 12 lifetime, or in the past year rather. Around the country. This one has a strong work tab coming in from the October 27th race. So I'm liking this one to maybe hopefully, finish in the winner's circle, but definitely to get on top would be my goal here. Next up, we'll go to the number 9. That is Paros for Mike Maker, a horse coming in off of 4 straight wins. Kaitlin, you picked this horse in second.
Yeah, I almost picked this horse on top, and when race day comes along, I may actually decide to flip these two. This is just a versatile type of horse that's getting better and better. This is the classic type of a horse that Mike Maker would claim, and brings a horse like this into Turfway, or he can bring this horse into graded stakes company on the turf, and it would be fine. I mean, this horse is clearly good over the turf, and I think he can run really well on the synthetic. The breeding certainly suggests synthetic, being by Cairo Prince, and Luis Saez going to be on board this one as well. So I may actually flip these two because Paros is going to be the better price.
Absolutely. So just sticking with that real quick, as a better, as you place wagers, what do you kind of take into account?
Obviously, price is the big thing that you can take into account. But one thing that you would have to take into account with this horse is he's doing something different, whereas Wadsworth is not doing something different. So you just kind of have to weigh those options. But you're getting Luis Saez versus you're getting Florent Giroux, which I love Flo. He does great, and he does great with Brad Cox. But Luis Saez is just, for me, he's a total package type of a rider.
He absolutely is, and there's nobody more dangerous turning for home if he's in front. He does not like to be passed by other horses and jockeys, and he will fight all the way down to the wire every race. So absolutely, Saez on board is always a plus look for me. He'll just have this horse in the right spot. Next one we'll go to, Jackson, is our joint second choice. That's the number 6, Dresden Row.
Yeah, I mean, if Kaitlin's right about the price on Wadsworth, I'd have no issue switching this as my top pick. He's just in really good form over at Woodbine. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. He shows up every time. With synthetic racing, I actually prefer the time form figures. I think they're a little bit better indicators just because they're so dependent on the pace. And synthetic is very fair, so the pace is so much more important. If you look at the time form figures, he has improved like 2 or 3 points in his last like 5 or 6 starts. He just improves. And if he's a 3-year-old, where is the ceiling? You don't really know. He can improve yet again in this spot. So if he continues to make those leaps, he'll be very tough in here. He's going to get forward position in a race that I think most of the main contenders probably come from behind. So if he can get the jump on those guys, look out.
Absolutely. I know this one's dropping out of a graded stakes last time out, or actually his last 3 efforts have been a graded stakes company, but this is pretty much a graded stakes field. So I don't look at it as too much of a class drop. He is 2 for 2 at this distance, which I like. He's also never been out of the trifecta, another just hard trying horse. And certainly a threat. And I like the post draw at number 6. Should just sit a nice trip. That is race number 6. I saw the race 1-6. Jackson saw the race 7-6, and Kaitlin saw the race 7-9. We're moving on to race number 7 now. We're going 6 furlongs for the Holiday Cheer Stakes. Kaitlin picked the race 8-10. I picked the race 1-3. Jackson picked the race 1-3, and I picked the race 5-10. We're going to start with the number 8 horse, One Timer. Kaitlin, your top pick for this race. We're going 6 furlongs for the Red Hot Larry Ravelli barn.
That's exactly why I picked this horse, is whether it's fairgrounds, Turfway Park, anywhere, Larry's barn is just in such good form. And this is a really good barn coming off of a slight layoff. This horse has ran over 3 different artificial surfaces and has won every single one. One of them a stakes race at Woodbine, one at Presque Isle, broke the maiden at Arlington Park. This is definitely a different surface at Turfway than those all-weather surfaces. But, I mean, he's always long thought that this horse was graded stakes quality sprinting on the turf, and he absolutely is. He's a multiple graded stakes winner on the turf, and he's got really good form behind Cogburn, Arrest Me Red. He's even ran into Row and Roll before, going long on the dirt. So he's just a horse that his form hasn't been good in the past year or so, but I think he can certainly right that ship in this race, getting against a softer type of a field. And Larry comes into this week here at Turfway 5 for 6. That is very hard to do. Especially after just 1 week there. And I mean, these weren't all favorites either. And this horse has been working lights out at fairgrounds. So I really like this horse a lot in this race.
Absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned Larry Ravelli, 5 for 6, 83%. That one horse that finished in third was the one time I singled him. So, whoops on that one. But that is the number 8 One Timer. Jackson, we're going to go to you next. Down on the rail, the number 1 horse that's coming out of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, Howard Wallowitz.
Yeah, he's interesting, right? Because he's 3-year-old. He's another up-and-comer. He's still lightly raced and theoretically has a lot of upside. And I think that the scratch at the 12 is obviously very important because I didn't think there was a lot of speed to begin with. But now there's really not a true speed ball in the race. And now that he's drawn on the rail, he's got Jaramillo, who's a speed rider. He's got to be sent out of there. And he doesn't necessarily need the lead, but he's got to get some forward position to avoid getting shuffled towards the back in this field. So, last time we were talking about this off air, Ryan, that he took some really weird money in the Breeders' Cup. He was 17-1 that day in a race that featured, arguably the best turf sprinter we've ever had in Cogburn. You had Bradsell, supposedly the best horse they brought over. And at one point, he was like favorite or second choice in the doubles. It was just really weird money he was taking. And then he just got an awful trip. He had no chance. Go back and watch the replay. He was wide on the turn, completely checked out of there back to last, and still came again with his run. He had no chance after that, but Pratt was pulling him up so hard. He wanted to keep going. So I think getting back to 6 furlongs going to be useful for this horse. Just needs to get out of the gate.
Absolutely. Interesting that you brought up the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint and mentioning the greatest turf sprinter in the world, and you didn't mention Starlust, who is the greatest turf sprinter. And I'm just kidding. He's not the greatest, but he certainly ran his A race that day. Loved him there. But you mentioned that he took some weird, it had to be the BCBC money that he took that day into some massive double. But Howard Wallowitz, definitely the improving light horse, kind of dark horse, if you will, in this field as he comes in just off of 5 career races. Still as a late season 3-year-old. We'll go now to my top pick real quick before we shoot to the outside. That's the number 5, if I can find it. Oh, I was just there. It's going to be the number 5, Nighttime. This one gets back onto synthetic where he's done some of his best races. He has proven synthetic form, which I like to see. That's more than you can say for a lot of these in here. He always seems to run his A race here at Turfway. Again, just another horse that 3 seconds, 3/3, and 2 wins out of 9 tries. Only concern for me is he's coming off a bit of a break since October at Keeneland, but only has 2 works, 2 published works, that is, on the work tab since that last effort. So maybe that's some cause for pause, but I also look at it as a plus that Brittany Vandenberg clearly claimed this horse with a purpose to run him in this spot, being protected in the stakes race back on synthetic, where this horse has some buyers that put this one right, maybe not in the winner's circle, but right next to it. And Nighttime won this race last year, posting a 95 buyer speed figure. So Chris Emmy's aboard this day. We'll go to the number 10, and that is my second choice along with Kaitlin's. Kaitlin, we both picked the number 10 Dream Shake in second here.
This horse has just completely reinvented himself as a sprinter. I remember when he was on the Kentucky Derby trail for like a little while. He ran, I actually think he would have gotten in the Kentucky Derby. He would have had enough points, but they decided to keep this horse kind of around that mile 7 furlong type of a distance. But I saw him at Colonial coming off of the layoff, and he won the Van Cleef Stakes over a very good field. Determined Kingdom's a really underrated type of a sprinter, and then he ran in the DeHaas. Horses coming out of that race to run well in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint themselves. So I think he certainly has kept some better class than a lot of horses in this race. And he's run pretty well over the synthetic before. He won a race up at Woodbine on the synthetic. He is grade 2 place on the surface in the Kennedy Road Stakes a couple of years back. So I think getting over the synthetic surface again, he's back in the Peter Urton barn. I think he could certainly, if the pace is hot in this race, which it's not going to be, I would maybe think about picking him a little bit higher than just second, maybe picking him in the win spot, but I think he's definitely going to come with a nice late run.
Me too. I definitely agree with everything you said there. This was one of those kind of weird, quirky horses when they first got him because he was pretty highly touted out on the West Coast. I can't remember if he won his debut or not, but
he did.
Was okay. Thank you.
20-1.
Thank you. Was just one of those really highly touted horses, and obviously you get put on the Derby trail if you're a high-end 3 or 2 late season 2-year-old. That's kind of the path everybody goes, and then that just didn't quite work out. So it was kind of, they tried to find out where he fit and what he was best at, and clearly that seems to be synthetic and turf. Definitely sprinting seems to be his best game. So I would love to see him maybe a little bit closer up because I don't know how much pace is going to be in here, which I came to the same conclusion. That's kind of why I couldn't pick Dream Shake on top. But I do want him certainly underneath somewhere, as this is a horse that still has some great races left under his belt and is still a hard trier. Absolutely. We'll go to the number 3, Jackson. That is Run Carson, coming out of a nice allowance win at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, and again, he's another one that has that versatile running style that you love to see. He shows up every time. I mean, he ran them off their feet 2 back at Aqueduct, opened up on a fast lead, and they couldn't catch him. And then last time he came from way off the pace and won very easily over Joe Shiesty, who's a very fast horse out on the Kentucky circuit. So if he's able to transfer that form over to Turfway, he'll be very tough in here. He'll be forward. He's been working at Turfway for several months now, so I'd have to imagine he'll be able to handle it. And Sias bothers to ride, which is, can't go wrong there. And then real quick, Ryan, you're going to hate me for this, but the scratch up Patches of Julian makes his 14 a lot more interesting if he's able to draw in, because we keep talking about the lack of speed in here. He's another one that can get forward. I love the outside draw for him. He's, on figures, he's fast enough to compete with these. So if he does draw in, he's definitely one you got to keep an eye on.
without a doubt, that's the number 14 Shefflin there. Because again, the scratches of Patches O'Houlihan is a big one, as that one was going to take an abundance of play in this spot. That's race number 7. I picked the race 5-10. Jackson picked the race 1-3, and Kaitlin picked the race 8-10. Kaitlin, I know we only had you for a little bit here, so we'll let you go before Jackson and I get into our pick 4 tickets, but I really can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your vacation to spend it with us and to help us handicap this awesome Turfway all stakes pick 4.
Well, thank you guys so much for asking me.
Absolutely. Good luck the rest of the way out at Turfway and with whatever else you got going on, and thank you again.
All right, thank you so much.
Have a good one. All right, yeah. Awesome to have Kaitlin join us. We will throw the past performances back up here as we are going to get into our pick 4s here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We got over 200 people in here right now, which is awesome. Please, again, get on the YouTubes and join in the live chat. Send us your picks for these. We'll go over the pick 4, kind of race by race here. We'll break it down. Jackson, why don't you lead us off? We talked about this run kind of at the top of the show. You picked the race 4-2 or 2-4. 4-2. I picked the race 4-2. So you're going to single this one and try and beat the heavy favorite number 4.
Yeah, I'll take a stand in here. I got no problem doing it. So she's got to be 5-1, 6-1 here. I think the 4 is going to be very, very short. So if you are able to beat her in this first race, it opens up a world of possibilities. And if I'm wrong, then whatever. I'll come back to play some doubles in the next few races. So again, I think she's got some dirtied up form, and especially when that trouble she had isn't really listed in the PPs, you can get some really good value out of it. So let's going to single this horse. I think she's very live here. Try to get her home to kick this thing off.
I like it. When you say play pick 4s, you mean pick 5 or play doubles? You mean play the pick 5, right?
No, I mean play doubles.
Oh, okay. I'm unfamiliar with that. I'm going to single the number 4 Dana's Beauty to kick us off here. I just think this one is too good in too sharp a form. I think Maker is really going to send in a strong string. This one's owned by Jackson's ticket is way better than Ryan's. Yep. Thank you, Noah. This one's owned by Noah's intern boss, Resolute Racing. So races for the Resolute colors. I think Dana's Beauty is just going to be too good in this spot. So I'm going to single this one and move on. So hopefully one of us is alive after race number 1. Race number 2, you can see I'm going to spread, and you're going to spread a little bit as well. You picked the 2, 5, and 11. I went 2, 5, 6, 11, 12. Why don't you just kind of kick it off with why you're only using 3? And
it's tough. It's tough because these races are pretty wide open, I think, and we don't have the odds yet because that could change a lot. But I do think I'm able to lock this up with just the 3 I have. I think did we talk about the 2 Beauty to See? Yeah, we did. She's one that's going to get forward. She's be on a synthetic, and she's one I definitely need. The 5 was my top pick, uppercase, for Lobo, who she seems like she's on the improve. If she runs back to those last 2 races, she'll be very tough. She's won over the synthetic here at Turfway as well, so she makes plenty of sense. And then the 11's probably the class of the field. Love Appeals, drawn well on the outside, has not run over the synthetic yet, so that is a concern. But again, she's the class of the field. She'll be coming from off the pace, so I think I feel good having two bets of speed and 1 horse coming from way out of it.
Absolutely. Not to mention you get Vincent Showman on board for Love Appeals. He rides Turfway Park. Excellent. This one has to go turf to synth, and the number 5 has to go from dirt back onto synthetic. He has tried it before when he was maybe not in the sharpest form, but he did win over the surface and got a second earlier on in his career. So he can still handle it. So it's a little bit less of a question mark. And this time he just comes in such sharp form. That's got to give you a lot of confidence. I also threw in the number 6 Nicest Pie that Kaitlin talked about. Luis Saez gets on board. Blinkers on for Kelsey Danner here. I also used the 11 Love Appeals because I think if that one takes to the synthetic as he should, or as she should rather, it's going to be tough to beat that one. But I also used the other one with Love in their name, and that's Love to Shop for Kevin Attard, Rapoli, and St. Elias. This one just has some really nice synthetic form to get back to, and I think that's going to be key here. Jeffrey Wilson. What's up?
I hate that horse.
You hate Love Appeals?
Love to Shop. That's
Love to Shop. Sorry.
I bet her last year 19-1, big win bet. She got second, and then lost a 50-1 shot this year for like, I don't know, 3,900 or something like that on a cheap ticket. So we We've divorced her. We don't need her. We don't need
That
her.
happens to the best of us. That's race number 5. Race number 6 here will go in. I am 4 deep. Jackson, you are 3 deep. We are both using the 1, the 6, and the 7. So why don't you kick us off with Hush of a Storm here down in the rail?
Yeah, we're pretty similar, I think, overall in this ticket. So Hush of the Storm he's in really good form right now with any kind of speed in here, which it looks like there should be. He'll be running late. Has a win over the track, got a big late kick. Just needs to work out a trip there for Machado. And then I feel like, again, I have a horse from way out of it, the 1, Hush of Storm. I have number 6, Dresden Row, who's going to be on the lead. He's trying to ride up against some super hot paces, and he's hung in there every single time, super live. And then the 7, Wadsworth, is probably going to be that mid-pack type. So I think I can lock this one up with those 3, all different running styles. Feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, Godolphin recently has forgotten how to lose stakes races. They are on an absolute tear right now. I did want to throw in the 9 because I do love that Maker claimed this horse, and we've seen him. He has a move where he'll claim and then he'll toss them right into a stakes competition, and sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. But he decided to go through the conditions with this one, placing them in the non-winners of 2, other than, and then right into the non-winners of 3 at Keeneland. Cleared those conditions relatively easily. I mean, 3/4 of a length, and that turf victory is pretty decisive when it comes down to it, because turf race is normally decided by head bobs. And then now comes into this stakes try pretty much off of his best career effort on turf. Obviously going to have to handle the synth, but Kaitlin mentioned out of Cairo Prince, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Saya is on board. This one's going to be in the right spot. So I didn't want to have this winner of 4 straight left off my ticket just in case. They step up onto the synthetic. Moving on to race number 4, race number 4 of the late pick 4, or race number 7 as it is in the book. Jackson, you went 4 deep with the 1, 3, 10 and the AE number 14. Already a good shot that one draws in with the scratch of Patches O'Houlihan, which is why I didn't give you a hard time on it today. And then I went 1, 5, 8, 10. So we're both using the rail horse, Howard Wallowitz. You made your case on this one as to why this one kind of deserved to be in the body of the field. And then number 8 one-timer?
Yeah.
Okay.
5.
Sorry. You used the number 10, though. You used the number 10. That is Dream Shake. What were your points on Dream Shake here?
He just won that. He kind of confuses me because he's, like Kaitlin said, he was really good early in his career. And I also thought he was a Derby horse. I think me, my dad, and my brothers, we had a Derby future bet on him, I think. And then he just never really panned out after that. But he's kind of reinvented himself as this turfy synthetic sprinter. So been off for some time, but those races at Colonial were pretty good. And I have the 1, 3, and 14. They're all going to be forward. He's going to be the one that's kind of mid-pack, off the pace type.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see where I'm looking at the maiden breaking performance at 20-1 Rosario aboard that day. So clearly there were some intentions. Bezos and Law
he beat
Professor,
the best prospect of all time, Bezos.
Yes. Bezos was the 3-5 favorite in that race and is now racing on turf at Aqueduct, finishing 8th by 1.5 miles. So, it goes to show that top ranked prospects only mean so much in horse racing. You still got to get onto the track and win races. And then, again, the number 14, one of your top picks here, Shefflin, trained by Bill Morey, is likely to draw in to the body of the field if one more horse scratches. So I guess we'll have to wait till day of, but I do like this one.
Yeah. And just this pick 4 as a whole, I know in the last 3 legs, I don't expect any of those to be any major prices or anything. I think they're all pretty logical contenders. So with that first leg, I trying to get a little separation there, trying to beat I know the 4 is going to be a big favorite in that race. So if we can get that 2 home, really get some value out of this thing, because otherwise I don't think it's going to pay massive.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I do think if you are able to beat the number 4 in that first one, that's Dana's Beauty, that you are going to get, a little bit of a better payout even. But I don't know. That one in the first leg was just too tough for me to try and beat, but I'm going to try and find some prices elsewhere. Number 5, I'll talk about real quick before we kind of wrap it up. That is, man, it's awesome that they don't have numbers. I do think Nighttime has a great shot in here. I love this one getting back onto synthetic. Brittany Vandenberg, it just looks like there was a lot of intention with this claim, similar to Paros in the last race for Mike Maker. Claimed, protected, and now runs in a stake. I think this one was just claimed straight into protected stakes company, where this one has a lot of tries and a lot of wins. Kind of interesting that they put this horse in for a tag last time out at Keeneland. I mean, I get that it's a $40,000 claim. This horse has earned, over $650K, and I know the purses at Keeneland are pretty great. I just thought, this horse has some stakes wins, not too far out of this one's past performances. That one was coming in off a layoff, could have ran for the waiver. So weird that they kind of gave up on this horse, but I'm sure Brittany Vandenberg's happy that they got the claim in for this one. Runs back in this protected spot in Stakes Company, in a spot where this one absolutely fits, as this one won this race last year. So this one I have high hopes for. Might single in a later sequence. This one's definitely going to be one of my top picks on the day. But those are our pick 4, all stakes pick 4 tickets. Again, one more time with me. I'm 4 with the 2, 5, 6, 11, and 12. With 1, 6, 7, 9, with 1, 5, 8, 10. That's a $40 ticket. And I think it does have a chance to pay, I don't know, maybe $300 to $800. I don't know that it's going to be bombers like we've seen. And obviously anything under what, $10,000 for a pick 4 at Turfway is pretty chalky. With how they paid.
I think we'll disagree on that one, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to pay that much. I think with these races are deep, but they're deep with the logical contenders. I think you have 4 or 5 horses that make plenty of sense in here, and in all likelihood, it's going to be one of those. And I kind of felt that way about this whole sequence. So we'll agree to disagree there. One of us is going to be right, and we're going to see who it is.
Absolutely. Jackson, you have a much more budget-friendly $18 ticket. And then, you said you'll play some doubles later on. And are you going to enter that Los Al tournament this weekend? Coming off of a fresh tournament victory of your own.
Yeah, I am. There's actually a big one on Saturday at Turfway. I think there's a $2,000 entry fee through Twin Spires. I think our good friend Matt Miller is playing in that one. I'm sure he'll be double-barreled and he'll be loading up into this card. It's a good card. Even outside of these 4 stakes races, they're deep fields. So it should be a fun day at Turfway.
Absolutely. It's always a fun day everywhere we go. Everybody that's watching, please head over to YouTube. Please subscribe, turn on those notifications. We have some great shows coming up this week. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, same time as this show went live. We're going to be myself, Jackson, Big Hoof Energy, and Kaylee Shapiro of Naira Bets. We're going to be going over the New York Stallion Series Late Pick 5 at Aqueduct this Saturday, and we are going to be joined by Naira Bets' own Matthew DeSantis as well. He will be with us tomorrow. His dog Carrie's doing great, so we're always happy to hear that. And then right after that show at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Nope, not tonight. That's the wrong banner. That's going to be Noah Maher, your host, and myself, the co-host for Pacific Horse Players. We're going to be going over the $1 late pick 4 at Los Alamitos this Saturday, Los Al Futurity Day. But as exciting as that is, and I know we could just do it by ourselves, we get to be joined by Shane O'Neill, friend of this program, and then Doug O'Neill, Kentucky Derby winning trainer. Obviously, not much needs to be said about Doug O'Neill that hasn't already been said. He's awesome. It was awesome to get to meet him this summer. Jackson, I believe you were able to meet him as well with me. And we have a future Kentucky Derby gate starter, hopefully, and Santa Anita Derby winner, Rank, who will be running this weekend if all things go well in the Los Al Futurity. So we're going to talk to Doug O'Neill about that and much, much more. So please make sure you head on over to my channel. That's the Gallop Out right here on YouTube. Please subscribe and turn on those notifications. And then subscribe to HHH Racing channel over on YouTube as well. And catch Pacific Horse Players tomorrow, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. But this has been the All Stakes Pick 4 Turfway Saturday. I want to thank everybody for joining. This has been a lot of fun. There are 270 of you in here right now, which is an incredible turnout. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you again to Kaitlin Free for giving us her time as she's on vacation, just enjoying some time off, some well-deserved time off. So gave us a good 30 minutes there to talk about an awesome sequence. So press your opinions, everybody. Good luck. And Jackson, myself, we will see you tomorrow.